The Soul came along in 2009 and was Kia's attempt to inject a bit of, well, soul into their rather soulless lineup of cars. Now that boxy, rugged design is a bit love it or hate it, but you have to remember that up to this point, Kia were making rubbish like the Shuma and the Rio and just real soulless, these puns are going to keep coming, Euro boxes that just had no personality whatsoever. And when this came along, it was nice to see Kia trying to inject a bit of personality into something. The Soul came with various cool trim level names such as the Soul Shaker, the Soul Echo, the Soul Searcher. This particular one though is called the Soul 1, as in you were cheap and you just wanted a cheap car. Now on the higher trim levels you can personalise these things with different graphics, plastics, different shades of seat fabric, leather. This is a Soul 1, so the only real bit of quirky personality in this is a red glove box interior, which I've yet to find anything else in here that matches that. So yeah, there's the soul of the Soul. So why am I featuring one of these on my channel? Well, this little 1.6 petrol Kia Soul, in its almost 12 years on this earth, has covered 236,000 miles with one owner. He was dedicated. They were cheap for what they were. This car was just 10.5 grand new, and with that you got Kia Star attraction at the time, a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty, which this guy clearly took advantage of. So what I'm interested in focusing on in this quick clip is just how well this thing has worn its miles. I honestly can't believe that figure on the dash. I seriously, I did a little trip earlier just to make sure it wasn't double counting the miles, because I can't believe how well it's done. For the stick that Korean cars can get, you just need to watch this video. And the fact that it's a petrol too, 1.6 petrol, clearly proving that you don't need a diesel engine for longevity. Now this literally just came in yesterday, so it hasn't been cleaned. Excuse the well, excuse the last owner's choice in mats. Dear God. Ooh, silver disco mats. Anyway, check this out, right? 236k on the clock. Look at that seat. Yeah, it's grubby, but it's still completely intact. Same goes for the steering wheel. Okay, it's gone smooth there, but the only areas I can see wear, little touch here, carpets hold. Apart from that, everything works, and works well. Nothing feels like it's tired and ready to give up. And look! No warning lights. I am absolutely staggered. Last owner even left a CD to go with the mats. Literally the only thing that's let it down is Kia's slightly thin paint. So if you look here, we have a few areas that have obviously sustained a bit of chipping and then developed. The worst is the top of the windscreen, which obviously would have been prone to stone chips and a bit of flick up damage on the motorway miles that this car's obviously done. The bonnet's the same. And if we look around here, that's just dirt. but just from being flicked at constantly with grit, this is starting to go here. Again, a little there, but little parking faux pas. But really, for the miles, unbelievable. So when the Soul was launched in 2009, it came with a simple choice of two engines, a 1.6 diesel or a 1.6 petrol. The guy that bought this new decided, oh, I'll go for the petrol, despite the miles that he was about to do in the car, and I really commend that. This engine, it feels as good as day one. There are absolutely no reason to question that it won't go on for another $250,000. Obviously maintenance has a lot to do with it, and this car has clearly been well mechanically maintained, but that's not to detract from just how well it's worn these miles. The drive is that typical Korean light steering with no particular feel, handling that's okay but won't set the world on fire, and that's what they've come to be known for. But that's no bad thing. Especially, I want you to keep in mind the mileage on the clock of this car. There is not a single rattle, noise, squeak or tired feeling component of this car's drivetrain. The engine pulls as it should, it sounds as it should, the gearbox is still as snappy as it would have been new. The only way I can find one way to maybe gauge as an indication of its miles or a slightly spongy clutch, but a car with 60,000 miles could have a spongy clutch if the clutch has had a hard life. And I think one of the rear brakes is binding slightly, but again, 236,000 miles? I think it'd be more than my brakes that would be binding. Actually, there's one thing I found that doesn't work. The radio is not picking up any signal. The aerial is on it, but it's just not picking up anything and not playing anything. So it's a good job he left me that CD. I gotta say, I really like the dash layout in the Soul. It's got this kind of protruding center console with a nice looking stereo, slick feeling climate controls, and then it's got good storage, so you got good cup holders down here, plenty of trays, your auxiliary and iPod input, and then up here you've got this huge cup holder, which I reckon if you're a fan of KFC, you're gonna love digging into a bucket while you're driving. That's the only purpose I can think that was designed for. So if you think you need some posh, expensive Audi diesel to do that kind of mileage, think again. And in covering 236,000 miles, the owner of this petrol Kia wouldn't have had to have dealt with diesel particulate issues, injector issues, dual mass flywheel issues, all that horrible stuff that diesel engines attract. This is flying the flag for nice, simple, petrol-powered simplicity, and for that, I absolutely love it. And I can guarantee you, a Volkswagen Passat won't feel this good after that amount of miles. Mother's Day's coming up. Hope she likes them.